And welcome to the Wednesday, March 9th
Okay, how are you?
Board of Directors meeting. The lights on. The Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority. I call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Approval of the agenda. Does everyone have the newest agenda, which makes item number 11, consider actions related to ongoing litigation? Is that? Oops, no, that was in the old one. 9 and 10 got reversed. There we go.
Okay.
So the current 9 should be executive session. Those are the only changes. It was turned. So with that change, do we have a motion to approve?
Move approve. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment. Small audience today. This would be your opportunity to comment on any item that is not on today's agenda, if you would like to. Anyone? Okay, seeing none. Item 4 would be approval of the minutes from the February 10th, 2016 regular meeting.
Move approval. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, Citizens Advisory Committee Monthly Report. Welcome, Mr. Godfrey.
Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Jim Godfrey, Chair of the CAC. For our monthly meeting, I'd like to point out and again thank Mr. Corey Farkas for coming in. We had asked Corey to come and give us a kind of a rundown of what the city's plans are for doing 2C. And doing the repaving work and the correlation between the pothole repair and all that. And Councilman Bennett had recommended to the city to do that. We had him scheduled for last month, and there was a thing like a snowstorm or something that he was busy. But Corey did come and give us a presentation and overview of what's going on, and there was a lot of give and take, a lot of discussion with the committee, and the committee really appreciated the information that he had to share. So we look forward to updates as they are provided. City of Colorado Springs had brought forth a recommendation for 2 line item transfers. They're cleaning up some projects, closing out some projects, and wanted to move money into projects that were underfunded. One of them was Chestnut Street Bridge. On that one, the board had a unanimous approval for a recommendation for approval of that one. The second one drew a little discussion, and it's was a transfer out of a project into Woodman Road Phase 2. And we had a 11-3 vote on that with 1 abstention. And the question really boiled down amongst the council members of whether it was a 2-step process of realigning money where when the money comes out of a project and excess says, does it go into the pool and then they come with a separate request and ask to put it against Woodman Road, or whether the entity would be allowed to just do that line item transfer within their allocations. And so that was the general discussion. In the end, we do recommend approval of that, but that was the discussion around that particular item. Colorado Springs brought forward 11 contracts. Most of them were this year's contracts for things like crack seal, the dig out and patch, the on-call contract. It was a renewal of existing contracts with their approved 1-year options or renewals or whatever. And we recommend approval of those. El Paso County had 2 contracts for work at Black Forest Culverts and Stapleton Road, and we recommend approval for those as well. And I think that's about it.
Questions, comments? Thank you.
Yeah.
Motion to accept, please.
Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Item number 6, Beverly Majeski.
Good afternoon. The reports in front of you show that we received January sales and use tax of $6,624,000, so $354,000 ahead of the budget for the month, or 5.6%. So January is starting out to be a good year so far. And compared to last year, on page 2, we're ahead of January actuals by almost $281,000, or 4.43%. Pages 3, 4, and 5, the revenue and expense summary, reflect the numbers on the first 2 pages, but when you get down to the second half of page 3, you'll notice that we have some negative numbers in expenditures. For roadway and traffic and safety operations, a negative $19,000, Baptist Road, $408,000, and Mark Shuffle, $21,000. And those are cost sharing for 2 of them, and then the DOLA grant for the Baptist Road West over the railroad crossing. So that's why those are negative. Are there any questions?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Stevens.
Curiosity factor. I was thinking about this the other day in the accumulation of the impact of RTA over time. At some point, either we will be or we already have signed checks equaling over $1 billion. Do you know where we are with respect to that?
I'll look. I don't know. That would be
Probably
good to
worthy-
know.
Probably worthy of a celebration.
Yeah, that's a
Rachel?
good idea.
Rachel Beck? Mayor Pro Tem Stevens has a project for you.
Celebration of $1 billion spent by the RTA.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Beverly is going to check to see if we're there or about there.
Rachel likes parties.
And hopefully it's not 5 years out.
Right. Well, it's not quite yet, because if you
Okay.
think about it, we are just going into the, is it the 12th year?
Yeah.
It's getting close. I know revenue's really close. I'm not so sure expenditures are, but, we'll look into that, and we'll keep track of that, even on a thermometer or something as we start getting closer. That would be pretty cool. Okay, so the second summary I handed out is the amendment, the revenue carryover from the 2015 year end, which we have all the revenue in. We don't have all the expenditures in, but this is where we calculate how much we're going to allocate of the additional revenue to transit maintenance and capital. This summary then goes out to the member government staff, and they get started on figuring out what they want to do with the additional revenue here. For example, line 1, the sales and use tax was $5,092,000 over budget. And then if we add all the other little items, including the administrative expense savings, we come up with $5,269,000 over the budget, and that gets allocated to, on lines 9, 10, and 11, to transit maintenance and capital, and then allocated to the member governments below. So they'll be able to take that $5,269,000 and roll it into their 2016 mid-year budget amendment. Are there any questions? No?
Questions for Bev?
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item number 7, capital maintenance and public transportation contracts, City of Colorado Springs.
Good afternoon, Mike Chavez, City Engineering. We've got a few things to go over today. The first one is we're requesting a line item transfer out of the RTA 2 projects for the city. We're starting to open bids on capital projects, and we are seeing some price increases. And so the Chestnut Bridge, which is kind of something we're fast-tracking, we got a design done, and we opened bids the Tuesday before the CAC meeting last week. And the prices were higher. Actually, our estimates were around $3 to $4 million. We actually got a bid for 2.9. So that's still higher than we originally thought when the sinkhole developed. But that is something that we can handle. What we're requesting is transferring about $1.9 million out of the Pikes Peak replacement project for 16 and putting it into the Chestnut budget. We are working on Pikes Peak reconstruction, but we're not going to be at construction this year. So we had like 7.2 million. So we're going to adjust that one and work on the rest of our projects. So that's that one. Is there any questions on that?
Questions?
I'd move approval.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, all right. The next item, we are looking at some line item transfer out of the RTA one projects that the city has. We've kind of been closing out projects, and we had quite a bit of savings on the Proby project a couple of years ago, and we've kind of been rolling that money over to the next project that comes online, basically to put some contingency in there because they've been a little tight. And we haven't had to use them pretty much, so this money's just kind of been rolling over, and we're closing out several projects, large one being Academy Court, Austin Los Quarter, and Vincent, which have been done. And the money that we have left over there, we're just requesting that it be rolled over into the Woodman widening project. Again, we're expecting some some price increases in the construction contract. So we like to put some adequate budget in there to cover the costs. And what I've been trying to do is keep Woodman out of the pool. The county, city are kind of looking at using that pool reserve for the north and south Mark Sheffield projects, and I've been trying to keep Woodman out of it. And I think by doing this, I can stay out of that. I think we had it word from CDOT that authorization to bid that was imminent, which I was not expecting, so hopefully we can get that notice here in a week or so. We're expecting it Monday, but not sure what's going on there. But we should have a better idea once we bid that, where we stand.
I move approval of the transfer for Woodman Road.
Second.
Further discussion? Anyone in the audience? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. We have 11 contracts to go through. I'm going to let Corey come up and talk about his first 4 in case there's questions on that, and then I'll cover the rest.
Good afternoon, Corey Farkas, City Public Works. So the first 4 that we have on here, 2016 crack seal contract. It's for $1.5 million in preventative maintenance crack seal that we'll be awarding to a contractor. That's basically taking it from $500,000 from last year up to $1.5 million again. And as I spoke with the CAC last week, these increases in our preventative maintenance are a direct reflection of 2C. Because of the 2C taking the paving and pre-overlay concrete, that has freed up those dollars that we had previously been using PPRTA funds for our other programs. So all of our programs are benefiting because of that. So $1.5 million for our crack seal. We've got a dig out and patch program that's going to be going basically initially in front of that, in front of the chip seal program. We go out, we do structural dig out and patch so that we can fix any subgrade issues that might be a structural issue. So any leftover dollars after that then goes into basically a maintenance paving program to where they can just continue to try to address potholes with some maintenance paving at that point. So $1 million contract there. The third one is our on-call concrete program for $690,000. This is a concrete program that's separate from our pre-overlay, and it gives us the opportunity to and flexibility to be able to take care of concrete in front of, typically we try to target schools, senior living centers, areas like this. If we need handicap ramps in certain areas in town, we can utilize this flexible program to go ahead and take care of those. And then that was it. Number 3. I just had 3. Any questions on those?
Any questions on the first 3? Yes.
I do, and I'm not sure, well, maybe I guess it's not part of this, it could be, and perhaps it's not you, but the road going from, I guess, the Loaf and Jug in Manitou Springs, all the way up into Town Hall, that overlay Would that be you in
No.
terms of this pavement and potholes and stuff?
No, that,
No? That's you, okay, thanks.
well, Cheese County, that would be CDOT.
Okay.
Going through there.
Corey,
Yes, sir.
on the 2C, we were saying that we were not going to decrease any of the funding for roads and streets. Does this include all that?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. So 2C is essentially taking care of all of the pre-overlay concrete and the overlay
Okay.
that we'll be doing in town. Our PPRTA funds will be taking our chip seal, crack seal, some various the pothole account, our maintenance paving in-house, various concrete line items. So all of the preventative maintenance that we do is now being taken care of and increased through our PPRTA funds. So now we can keep once we pave our streets, we can keep those streets good moving forward. And then we will also have our maintenance of effort with our general funds. We have $1.5 million in paving that we'll be doing through general fund, and then our various programs that we do with our general fund dollars as well. Any other questions?
Looks like yes. Good.
Thank you.
Back to Mike.
Okay, then item number 4, we have AECom doing the design on the Pikes Peak reconstruction. That goes from Colorado Avenue to Prentice Parkway. The CSU Water has determined that they have some pipes that are a little old there, like around 1900. So they'd like to get those fixed and replaced before we fix the road. So they're going to piggyback on our contract. So they'll pay for this change order to have the water lines designed in that project. And that's something very common we do with CSU Water and wastewater. Next one is the construction contract for the Chestnut Bridge replacement to SEMA Construction. They gave us a pretty good bid, and I think it's because they're working on Fillmore right next door, so I think we're fortunate there. They're a good contractor, so we're seeking approval of that contract. Also, another construction contract with RMC Consultants. The outlet of the bridge that's kind of runs diagonally under Rock Rimmon and Pro Rodeo, the outfall of that culvert is gone and damaged, so we're going to repair that so we can protect the road behind it. And then, let me see, the next 5 are supply contracts for traffic signal equipment that our traffic division will use to repair and replace signals.
Various vendors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any particular reason you can't get a better buy by?
Part of it is the different vendors will give us, one vendor will be real good on one RFP or one thing, and then he'll be higher on the other, and somebody else be lower. So it's kind of a mismatch stuff. So, but these are all low bid.
Questions for Mike? Anyone in the audience? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
7D brings us to El Paso County.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Board, Jennifer Irvin, El Paso County. We have 2 items for your consideration today. The first item is for our Black Forest Culverts Replacement Project. This is a project which we have some federal funds for. So we received a best value bid from Pate Construction. We had 5 bidders for this project. And what we're asking for you today is the total contract is about $1.1 million. And we're asking for PPRTA to cover that match for those federal funds. So we're asking for about $200,000 for that project. If you're not aware, that road has been closed since October 22nd. And we are excited to get that under construction. And so is the Black Forest community. We do have a pre-construction meeting scheduled for tomorrow, contingent upon your approval, of course. And we expect the contractor to get underway within 7 days of notice to proceed, of which we will be sending out immediately after this meeting, contingent upon your approval. The second item is our Stapleton Road East project. We're wrapping that project up, and at the end of the project, we identified some additional testing that was required. So we're asking for a change order of about $3,900 to cover that additional testing. And next month, I'll also be bringing, as you know, as we close out these projects, some contracts go over, some contracts go under. Next month, I'll also be bringing you some other closeout contracts, and some of those will be under as well. So within that project, we're under budget.
I would enthusiastically move approval.
Further discussion? Anyone in the audience? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. We are enthusiastic too, Commissioner Littleton.
I was at a meeting at 6:30 this morning and was encouraged to get that Black Forest Road project moving.
Again?
So, yes.
Yes, so hopefully that helps you with some dates. We expect to be done around July 1st, weather permitting. And, you know, weather permitting, we might be done a little bit earlier, but no promises, and we'll do our best to keep that going. Thank you.
Moving on to item number 8, other reports, City of Colorado Springs Transit Service monthly update. Welcome, Craig. Good to see you're relying on your own 2 feet.
Yeah, everything's going well. Thanks.
Good.
We have a report in your agenda for our monthly update. A couple quick highlights. Our ridership remains strong. Our local fixed route bus service saw an increase compared to last year for the month of January, and a little higher boardings per hour as well. For our ADA service, a slight decrease, about 3.25%. That could be explained. There's one less weekday, January of 2016 compared to 2015, and we tend to have more trips on our ADA service during weekdays compared to weekends. And van pool is remaining strong. We've made a recovery, and we're sustaining that program quite well. In terms of projects that we report, key thing there is we have completed our process for approving our spring service changes, and we're moving forward with those. Those will be implemented on May 1st, which is a Sunday, so most of the service will actually be implemented on Monday, but there are service additions on Sunday as well. We have a lot of work to do on our part in terms of printing new schedules, revising our website, and also moving bus stops. So there's a lot of work between now and May 1st, which seems like it's a really far time away, but it's really not. So a lot of work to be done, and a lot of good work with Manitou. I think we're in good shape with Manitou as well. That was a key objective. We had on-time performance on our Route 3, got tied up in the success of downtown Manitou, and we've sort of separated those transit process or services, I guess, and have the free downtown Manitou shuttle year-round, and then helps our on-time performance with the rest of the route. So it was a really good project, a win-win all around. In terms of the public process, we document some of the participation we had in the public process, which was really good. We had 89 people coming to our meetings, which doesn't sound a lot, but when you're having public meetings, that's actually pretty good. And 70 additional comments through letters, email, social media, and so forth. So total participation of about 160, which is really good. And again, the quest that we're pursuing with regard to our service changes is about $1.5 million more of operating for 2016 compared to 2015, and that comes from a combination of additional city general funds, PPRTA revenue coming in strong, and us using more federal funds as well. What we're trying to do is improve our overall productivity, performance of the system, increasing frequency on high-performing, high ridership routes, and then also redirect resources where we're not having the ridership that we would expect. So a combination of those three things. In terms of overall ridership for 2015, for last year, we topped the 3 million mark in ridership on our fixed route bus system, which we hadn't done since the Great Recession and the budget cuts that we had to endure. So we're real happy where our ridership is and where it's headed. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Good news.
Yes.
Yes, Mayor.
And I concur. I think it's going to be a great situation in Manitou. It's going to take some time for some folks to adjust, but, you know, syncing the shuttle with the Route 3, it's going to be great. So I happened to be at one of those public meetings, and what was actually talked about, even in Manitou, was, is it Route 9 that goes to UCCS?
Yes.
So I just wondered what that outcome was. Is it going to end up being down in the Four Diamonds or still up at campus?
Correct. The Route 9, the answer is it's going to go to the campus, the direct answer to your question. Route 9 is a route that goes north out of the downtown terminal, goes north on Nevada, then cuts across on Mount View, over to Meadow Lane, and onto the UCCS campus along the Austin Bluffs corridor. We were wanting to make Nevada Avenue a 15-minute bus service, and we were proposing to run that entire route straight up to Nevada, no longer going east on Mount View over to the UCCS campus and going to Eagle Rock, and then using the shuttle or a transfer to another route for students and faculty to get there. It was nice to see the number of folks who showed up at the UCCS meeting to demonstrate their support for transit and how important transit is to them. And we responded to that by retaining our 30-minute service there. The other 30-minute line continues north up to Eagle Rock, so we now have that new line going up there. Each of those run on 30 minutes, so they're offset, so combined it's 15 minutes, which is awesome. So we still have that 15-minute service and still providing good service to UCCS.
That's great. Thank you.
It worked out.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was good to see the outpouring of support. We are working with UCCS, pursuing a student fee program for their students. We're this close with PPCC. We're a little farther apart on UCCS, but I think the demonstration of support and how important transit is to the students, the staff, and the faculty of UCCS was tremendous.
Right on. Thanks.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
8B, El Paso County Monthly Change Order and Property Acquisition Report. Welcome back, Jennifer.
Thank you. These are several properties that we continue to acquire for the Mark Shuffle Road project. All of these properties we did either value finds or appraisals on, and the property owners accepted our valuations. So if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer those.
Good to see work happening down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
8C, monthly status report of the remaining A-list capital projects. Welcome, Rick.
Good afternoon, Rick Sonnenberg, Pikes Peak RTA Program and Contracts Manager. This is an information item. It's the same 4.790 that's been on your agenda for several months, and we're just waiting for whenever the city and county staffs bring forward their recommendation of how to use it. Just information only.
Thank you. Quarterly reports from member governments. Rick, that must be you also, since you haven't moved.
Yes. Also, an information item only. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to field them or toss them back to the city and county staffs.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 9, executive session, if necessary. Let me go to our legal team. That was no accident.
I think he's just making faces behind my back.
Yeah, I got your back.
Yes, we would suggest an executive session for the board this afternoon to consider matters related to the ongoing litigation and also legislation that's been introduced that is related thereto, or at least seems very closely related thereto. So I would entertain a motion for this mouthful of information here, which is in accordance with Colorado Open Meetings Act, to hold executive session pursuant to CRS 246402-4B and 246402-4E for the purposes of conferencing with attorneys to receive legal advice on specific legal questions and determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiation, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing counsel in connection with litigation and proposed legislation regarding to collection of sales and use tax.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Well, folks, you're certainly welcome to stay. We do have another action item after this, but we do need to have you leave the room now if you're not part of the board or the legal team. Yeah, always takes a few minutes.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit the rest. Never miss it.
It's all for you. Advice which is subject to the attorney-client privilege, and therefore no further recording needs to be made of the executive session.
Do we have a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are out of executive session. Counsel, would you like to explain, do the disclaimer?
That is on now.
Yes.
As general counsel to the board, we can advise that the entire executive session stayed within the parameters of the motion and approval, and no improper subjects or extraterritorial discussions were had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 10, we have a report from Rachel Beck on state of Colorado legislation regarding RTAs.
Good afternoon, Rachel Beck, Policy and Communication Manager. Two quick updates for the board on the bills that you have previously taken positions on. House 1067, which would extend the window of time that RTAs can go to the voters to ask for a mill levy, has passed the House and been introduced at the Senate and assigned to the Transportation Committee. Last I checked, it had not been assigned a hearing time. Senate Bill 11, which would have repealed the requirement that a certain amount of faster funds go to transit projects, was killed in the House Transportation and Energy Committee, largely along a party line vote, with one notable exception, and that is Representative Terry Carver, who had asked for extensive local input and, we believe, broke with her party to vote against that bill based on what she heard from staff and members of this board and the PPACG board. So be sure to thank her for that when you see her. Questions or comments on those before I move on to the new bill?
Nope.
Okay.
Thanks.
Last week, a bill was introduced in the House that concerns RTAs. That is House 1303. A copy of the bill was included in your packet. And this bill would prohibit RTAs from levying sales tax on vacant land annexed by a non-member jurisdiction. There are a number of concerns about this bill. It is silent on a number of points, such as who would be responsible for determining whether the land had generated sales tax at any point, how far back in history the research would need to go, a number of things of that nature. In addition, this bill would appear to possibly affect the PPRTA's ability to deliver projects that were determined by and promised to the voters. So a number of questions on this one. Comments or questions from the board?
I'll lead it off then. Anything in the legislation about how money spent by the RTA to bring that property into production could possibly be paid back, in particular the $23 million spent on South Academy that actually put the entrance into this property?
No, Commissioner, there is nothing in the bill that would indicate how that might be achieved.
Okay. Other comments? Murray?
Based on the vagueness of the resolution itself, I make a motion that we vigorously oppose it, legislation, and assist with every available assets we have.
Second that.
Okay. Any further comments? Council? Oh,
If I may, just a clarification as to the nature of that opposition. Would you like us to prepare a resolution of the board, or take some clarification on that?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to recommend, is that we could just have, if we could direct legal counsel to prepare a resolution, possibly a letter for us for consideration, that would be advisable.
And we may want to include in that and then let you guys get together, but I would urge us to not forget the fact that the boundaries were approved by the voters in an election, 12 years ago now? So that we're dealing with voter-approved boundaries.
In essence, it sounds like the resolution and the letter should include all of the considerations that have gone into getting us to this point, and frankly, have been briefed in pending litigation on a very similar issue. And so if we can work with staff to do that, that would be fine.
Be awesome.
To be signed by the chair and vice chair?
Correct.
Okay. Councilmember Murray?
I'd like to follow up with an addition to that. I don't know about how the actual process works. I'd like to give permission to the chair to act in our stead if we're not in session. So if something comes up that is relevant and helps the situation out, that the chair can act in our stead without our direct guidance or vote.
I would be more comfortable if it was chair and vice chair.
Yeah.
Our chair and vice chair.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Fine with that.
Okay, great.
Could you read that back? Okay.
Anyone in the audience have a comment on the motion on the table? On the floor. Okay. Any further comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Anything else, Rachel? That was it?
Nothing else that I would like to highlight for the board. If there's any other legislation on the tracker that you receive every week, happy to talk about that.
Okay. Questions?
I would like to thank you for that tracker. That is very, very useful.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you. Yep. Yeah.
Good job.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 11. No, that was...
Yep.
We did that.
We failed to remove that from the agenda, but we have no action for you to consider.
Okay. All right. Thank you. 12, PPRTA member announcements. Anything for the good of the whole here? All right. That we are adjourned.
All right.
So you could have ridden your motorcycle.
Thank you.
But if you had, we would.